Today we are going to work on math page 237, and the title of this lesson is Equations in Word Problems. So this is basically just practicing your normal subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, and seeing it in words and knowing exactly what to do. So let's look at 1 through 4 together and decide what it is that we need to do for each problem, and then you're going to do the math. So number 1 says Mr. Carter spent $19.99 on an oil change, $198 on 2 new car tires, and 75 cents for a pack of gum. How much did he spend? So we have 3 different things that he bought, and we want to know how much he spent. So we are going to add, right? We're going to add them all together. Now, the one thing you need to be careful about in this problem is that you line up your decimals. So we're going to add in this problem. Okay? Now, in number 2, Mrs. Hernandez had 176 pages copied for her class. If each student receives an 8-page booklet, how many students are in her class? So we know the total. And we know that she is splitting it up into equal amounts of 8. So if she's splitting up a whole amount, we know that we need to divide, right? So on this one, you are going to divide. Now, look at number 3. Kylie baked 8 batches of 12 cookies to give to 4 families. How many cookies did she give each family? So on this one, we know there are 2 parts. 8 batches of 12, and we have to know how many cookies that is. So we're going to multiply. Then she split up that total amount between 4 families. So then we have to divide by 4, right? And then you'll come up with how many cookies she gave each family. Now, number 4, the football team gained 28 yards in one play. So what's the key word here? Gained. Gained 28 yards in one play. In the next play, they lost 15 yards. How many yards had they gained after the 2 plays? So they started with 28, but then they lost 15. So losing means that we're going to subtract. We're going to subtract between the 2 answers, and that will, or between the 2 numbers, and that will give us our answer. Now let's look at the bottom half of the page, 5, 6, and 7. They want us to use a part-whole model, meaning that we look at the whole of what they want and then we break it down into parts. So Mason practices the piano each weekday for a total time of 1 hour and 40 minutes for the week. How many minutes does he spend practicing each day? So they started with the whole. They gave you the total of what he spends each week, and they want you to break it up. So 1 hour and 40 minutes, but they want our answer just in minutes. So we have to convert that first. So 1 hour equals how many minutes? 60, right. So we have 60 minutes plus another 40, which is going to give us 100 minutes, right? Okay, so we have 100 minutes. Now what are we going to do with that 100 minutes? We need to break it up into how many minutes does he spend practicing each day? Well, how many days does he practice? Be careful. It wasn't the full week. It was each week day. Each week day means 5. So we're going to split that 100 into 5 equal parts. So when we divide 100 divided by 5, you're going to find out how many minutes he spends each day. I'll let you find the answer. Now look at the next one. Peyton bought 2 yards of ribbon. She cut an 8-inch hair ribbon for each of her friends and herself. How many hair ribbons did she cut? So we start with yards. Now you have to remember how many inches are in a yard. So let's think for just a moment. Did you find it? How many inches are in a yard? There, 36. 36 inches in a yard. So if we have 2 yards, we need 2 36s, which you should be writing there, which would give you how many inches? 2 36s would give you 72 inches. Now, that's how many inches she started with. She's going to cut it into what? 8-inch hair ribbons. So we need to split that 72 into 8 pieces, or 8 inches. So then we're going to find out how many pieces. So we divide 72 by 8, and that will tell you how many hair ribbons she cut. Now, next, Colton needed extra trumpet practice to prepare for a concert. He practiced 40 minutes a day for 6 days. How many hours did he practice? So now we're working backwards. We don't have the total. They give you the pieces. And the pieces are 40 minutes a day for 6 days. So we need 40 times 6. And that will give you minutes. So if we do that, we do the 4 times the 6. That gives us 24. Then we add that 0 to the end. We have 240 minutes there in the middle line. Now, they want to know, though, they want us to use it in hours. So we need to take that 240 and divide it by how many minutes are in an hour, which was, we already talked about that, 60. So if we divide this by 60, okay, we get rid of our zeros. All we have to do is 24 divided by 6, and that will give us 4 hours, which is what is our total that goes at the top. Okay, now let's look at the back. Okay, we're on the back now, and we're looking at 8 through 11, and it says solve for n. So we have the total in the yellow at the top. So if we look at the total in the yellow at the top, on number 8, it tells us we're starting with a total of 2 hours. They've already given us 60 minutes of it, which is how much of it? An hour. And then we have another 45 minutes. So we have to know how much is that little part left to make another hour. Well, if we have 1 hour, we really need to find what we need to add here to make 60 minutes, right? So all you're going to do is 60 minus 45. And you'll find your missing part. Okay, write it there when you have it. Now look at number 9. We start with our total is 1 yard. Think first, they're splitting it into feet and inches. So if I have 1 foot of it, that was 12 inches of it. So let's go ahead and put 12 there, because that's 12 inches. Then we have 20 inches. And we know that 1 yard is 36 inches. So if we have 20 inches and we have 12 inches, how much is the missing part? You write that there. Okay, now on number 10, we have a total of 25 pencils. We have 10, we have 8. So we add those two together. We have 18. What's our missing part? You do 25 minus 18 and you'll find your missing number. And number 11, we have 3 dozen. We have 1 dozen. There you go. That's how many? 12. We have 12. That's how much? A dozen. So we have 2 dozen right here. Now we still need 12 more. Well, they have 5. How many more do we need to make another 12? That's what you have to write here. Good. Now, for this next part, 12 through 16, you are writing, look at your directions, a mathematical expression. You are not writing the answer. You are writing the mathematical problem. Okay? So Jude ran 20 minutes a day, each day for 1 week. So how are we going to figure out how much he ran that entire week? That's what you write there. Victoria had 16 ounces of water and drank 8 ounces. So she's taking some away. 14. Zoe and her friends ate a dozen cookies and 5 more. There's your key word. 15. Eli saved $24 and then spent 16. Natalie passed out treats to 6 rows of 5, so there's an even amount. Okay, now we've done the 17 through 24 before. We're going to put 5 in for every single one of those. And then if you look at the bottom part of your paper, the rest of that, you should be able to do that. That's all review also. 25 through 27, you are trying to figure out how much each one of those objects equals if the total is the amount on the front of the box. Okay? And then 28 through 31, you're just giving me different ways to come up with each of those numbers, giving me a different mathematical expression for each operation. Okay? Good work today. Keep it up.